Thales. Hello, you highly intelligent group of glutinous rice balls. So this is Thales, and you might have heard of him because he was the
FIRST Philosopher.
Well, at least if you ask Google who was the first philosopher, it says Thales. And I mean, he was around before people like Socrates and before Confucius and even before the Buddha, so he has a pretty good claim. The only person with a better claim might be the great Zoroaster, who according to the Oxford Dictionary of Philosophy was, in fact, the first philosopher. But you know what? He can bugger off. Anyway, here's a famous story about why Thales was loaded. So one day, while Thales was out for a walk, thinking about all kinds of philosophical things, a guy came up to him and said,
Hey Thales, philosophy's useless.
So being the first philosopher, Thales obviously wasn't very happy about that. And he decided to use his immense philosophical knowledge to predict the next great harvest. He then invested in all of the olive presses in the region, and when the great harvest came, he made a shit ton of money. Now, I wouldn't exactly recommend learning philosophy to help with your investments, but it worked for Thales. Anyway, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. So Thales was born in about the year 625 BC in Miletus, which used to be part of Greece but is now part of Turkey, and Miletus is known today as the birthplace of Greek philosophy, in no small part because of Thales. Now at some point Thales got fed up with mythological explanations of the world. Why are there earthquakes? Because Poseidon's angry.
No.
Why is there a winter? Because Persephone is on holiday in Hades.
No.
Why was my missus in such a good mood this morning? Oh, that's because she slept with Zeus last night while he was disguised as a bull. So Thales didn't find these kinds of explanations very reasonable, but that's not because he didn't believe in the gods. It's just that he wanted to give a more naturalistic explanation of the world. And that kind of makes him the first scientist as well, something that must have looked pretty good on his CV. Now to us, his ideas might seem a little bit crazy. Like he said that the earth floats on water because it must float on water because nothing floats on air.
Am I nothing to you?
But what really makes Thales the first philosopher in the modern sense is that he tried to give reasons and arguments for his beliefs. Beliefs that didn't require a leap of faith. Now one of Thales' main obsessions was trying to figure out what everything was made of.
What's this made of? What's this made of? What's this made of?
And if you think about it, that's pretty much what scientists still do today, with atoms and quarks and electrons and etc. But for Thales, everything was made of water. It just came in different forms. Now, without the 2.5 millennia of knowledge that we've got since Thales, that kind of made some sense. As Aristotle later said, a lot of things do have a kind of wet or moist nature. For example, clouds and plants and animals and your missus when she sees Zeus disguised as a bull. Thales also said, everything has a soul, and that included seemingly inanimate objects like rocks and pillows. The reason he thought that is because of magnets. When Thales saw how magnets attract each other, he concluded,
Yep, that must be souls.
It's an interesting interpretation, but not totally unreasonable. Now, let's take a look at some of Thales' amazing adventures. Thales is said to have been the first to predict a solar eclipse. When a war between the Lydians and the Persians was taking place, Thales announced,
Day will turn to night. Oh, look at me. I am the moon. I'm going to cover up the sun. Oh, it's very dark.
Today, this prediction is thought to refer to a solar eclipse that took place on the 28th of May, 585 BC. Now, most modern astronomers don't think Thales could have really made this prediction at the time, but let's not let the truth get in the way of a good story. Another time, while Thales was in Egypt, he was apparently the first to measure the height of the pyramids. Now, I'm not entirely sure what the ancient Egyptians would say about that. They probably had a pretty good idea how high they were when they built them, or was that... Anyway, what Thales did was to measure the shadow of the pyramid at exactly the same time that his own shadow was the same height as him. And if you think about it, that's a pretty clever idea. And in one more story that's been quite popular over the centuries, Thales is said to have fallen into a ditch. So, while Thales was at home, minding his own business, an old woman came to him and said,
Thales, come and have a look at these stars.
So Thales went outside to have a look. But while Thales was busy looking up at the stars, that's when he fell down into the ditch.
Ah!
And when the old woman heard him cry out in pain, she said,
Since you can't see underfoot, Thales, how do you expect to know what's in the sky?
Cheeky bugger. In the end, Thales died, as we all do. It was in about the year 545 BC. It's said that while he was watching a gymnastics competition, he died from heat and thirst and weakness. A pretty standard death for a pretty extraordinary guy. Anyway, that's the end.